Hi everyone, welcome to my kitchen. In today's recipe I'm going to show you how to make a Uppu Seedai, a very classic South Indian dish which is made during the festivals of Krishna Jayanti, or known as the Krishna Janmashtami, or Gokulashtami, right? And it's a deep fried dish made from rice flour, where you soak the rice flour, dry it, and then grind it into a powder, roast it along with some urad dal, chana dal, add in some sesame seeds, a little bit of coconut, and then make into tiny balls and then deep fry them. So without wasting any time, let me dive right in and show you the tips that I use to make a delicious seedai. The first step for making the seedai is to ensure that you have washed your rice and soaked it for about 2 hours. After soaking it for about 2 hours, you have to dry it out in a kitchen towel. So what I typically like to do is to ensure that I wash it the previous night that I'm going to make it, soak it for about 2 hours, and then dry it the previous night itself, right? Because when it comes to the morning, it is completely dry and I can grind it into a nice fine rice powder. So for that, it needs to be completely dried out, and that's when you get a nice fine powder and you don't have to go through the sifting process to make the seedai. So this is great. Now it's completely dry. I'm going to now grind my rice into a fine powder. We'll add in the rice into the jar of the mixer grinder. That's perfect. And now we'll make a fine powder of it. So this looks just about fine. I'm just going to show it to you. And you'll notice that this fine powder is stuck to it. Ensure that you remove it. It's just perfect. It's exactly how we want it to be. And now my next step is to keep this to the side, roast the dals, and then grind that into a powder and then make the seedai. So into a pan, I'm going to add in the urad dal, and I'm going to roast it until it becomes golden brown and crisp on medium heat. Ensure that you roast it on medium heat so it gets evenly roasted. Just keep stirring it while you're roasting it so that it gets roasted around all the sides, and that's important. So notice that the dal has become golden, and this is just perfect. We don't want it to brown too much. At this stage, I'm just going to toast the pottu kadle, which is the roasted chana dal, and I'm going to just roast it for about a few seconds. It's already roasted, so we just want to give it that additional taste and flavor. That's it. So I'm going to turn off the heat and then blend this to make a nice fine powder. So into the same pan in which we ground the rice flour, just add this in and make a powder. All right, this looks perfect. I'm going to keep this to the side now. So our final step is to roast the sesame seeds, and once it roasts, we're going to add in the coconut and then roast that for just about 30-40 seconds, and we'll be done to make our seedai. So that's about good. I'm going to go ahead and add in the coconut just for about 30-40 seconds to remove that excess moisture and give it that nice roasted flavor. And right, this looks good. I'm going to go ahead and turn off the heat. So into a mixing bowl, I'm going to go ahead and add in the rice flour, the urad dal flour, the coconut and the sesame seeds, hing. It's going to add to the taste, and it's extremely important, and salt. Just mix it all up, and then I'm going to add some ghee, and then we're going to add water and then knead it to make a dough. Just add in the ghee. You can also add butter. Now once you get a flour consistency wherein when you hold it, it holds together, and when you put it and it breaks apart, that's how you want it to be. You want the flour to resemble like coarse breadcrumbs after you add in the ghee. Okay, so just mix the ghee well into the flour. At this stage, I'm just going to add very little water at a time and then make a dough. So all in all, I'm assuming it's about a 1/4 cup and not more, but you could measure it and then add it as well. So, and then after that, add just a tablespoon at a time to ensure that you don't make the dough too soggy, okay? And if it does, then you might have to add a little bit more rice flour. This is unlike the roti dough. It doesn't have gluten, so you just have to ensure that it comes together and it holds together beautifully. So this is good. We'll just combine, bring everything together, and after that we're going to shape them into tiny balls, very like tiny marbles, and then after that deep fry it in oil over medium heat until it's nice and golden brown. And now I'm going to shape them into tiny balls, and you will notice there will be some cracks, and when you deep fry them or when you shape them into balls, and that's fine. And it'll crackle when you're trying to shape them into a ball as well, and that's the nature of rice flour, so don't worry about it. So it's important that you just ensure that you try to shape them. A perfect round is ideal. Okay, a little bit of oil or ghee, just grease your fingers, and then if you shape it, you will get this ball. Okay, just keep shaping it until you have all the balls ready, and then we will deep fry them. So to begin making the Uppu Seedai into a preheated oil, I'm just going to add in a few at a time. And when you add in the seedais, they will crack on the top. So you have to ensure that you add only a few at a time and then deep fry it in oil. Okay, and wait for it to rise up, and that's important because otherwise it'll crack immediately. Just lightly push it so that it doesn't stick to the bottom. So you need to ensure that you don't toss it around too much. So that's perfect. Notice that it's getting lightly brown. Ensure that you fry it on medium heat. So notice that the seedais are getting beautifully brown around all the sides, and it's important that you fry it on medium heat so they get cooked from the inside as well. I'm at this stage ready to drain out, and then we're going to be frying the remaining seedais until all of them are done, and then our seedai will be ready. So I hope you enjoyed watching the recipe of how to make seedai. Absolutely delectable dish made from rice flour, and the addition of sesame seeds, hing and the coconut brings in the taste and flavor. So do give this recipe a try, and when you do, don't forget to share your feedback in the comments below, and also take a snapshot of it and tag us across all our social channels, and I would love to hear from you. So until then, until next time, happy cooking and healthy eating.